The president of Wheaton College announced this week that the Norton campus will be open for the fall semester. President Dennis Hanno issued a statement on Tuesday that read, "After significant discussion among our faculty and campus leadership, we have affirmed our intention to deliver an on-campus fall semester whenever we can begin that semester, with the precautions in place that we will need to ensure the health and safety of the members of our community." Parents of elementary, middle, and high school students, understandably, are wondering if their sons or daughters will be in the classroom come September. North Attleboro Superintendent of Schools Scott Holcomb addressed how the 2020-21 school year will look as part of North TV's COVID-19 panel discussion last week.
Well, I think it depends on how fast the world can come up with a vaccine that we could distribute to people and to prevent the virus from further spread. I think it's based upon whether or not the governor decides to open back up the schools, the physical buildings again, to see if that's going to happen. I had 3 predictions so far of a closing of schools. Those were right. This would be the 4th prediction, whether or not we go back. I think we will go back in September. And the question is, what's it going to look like? I think it's going to look vastly different compared to what it looked like in September of 2019. September of 2020 will look nothing like that opening. I can't imagine there being 700 people in the cafetorium that are our staff members waiting to hear the opening speech and kickoff ceremony that we have planned, unless some way, somehow, there's a vaccine that's distributed to people that prevents this virus from spreading. If not, we're going to put people together again like that, and what we're going to do is we're just going to perpetuate the spread of the virus if anyone's infected with it, and there's going to be a spike. And then if there's a spike, then people are going to have to be intubated. And are there enough respirators in our system? And then all of a sudden we're going to exacerbate a problem where people aren't going to be able to receive the health care that they need because there's so many people who need it all at once. So we need to flatten this curve, and I think it's going to need to be flattened on multiple times, not just a single time like we see, unless that some sort of a medication to treat it effectively or a vaccination to eradicate it comes up, and we can treat it like we did measles, where it could be gone and eradicated. So will we open up in September? We will. It's going to look a lot different. The state's coming up with models to decide on how that would look. The Commissioner Riley had mentioned information to us as superintendents about potentially having these are all just ideas. There's nothing in concrete here. They're throwing ideas out there to see what's going to stick, and they're running through a bunch of different vetting tools for it. Do you have the digital thermometers that are set up at a distance of maybe more than 6 feet, could be 12 feet, where you're coming into the room, and this takes a thermal image of yourself to see what your temperature is, and someone's behind the other monitor to say whether or not you can even walk into the building. It could look like that. It could look like the option to have people remain through remote learning, and they can have remote learning if they don't want to come into the buildings, but at the same time a certain group of people can come in the buildings. Do you have waves of people come in? Maybe it's grade 1 on a Monday, it's grade 2 on a Tuesday, and then you couple it with remote learning and also open the physical buildings up. So they have a bunch of models that the State Department of Education is running through, and they're supposed to release those models at a later date, yet to be determined. So I think we're going to be open. I think it's going to look incredibly different than what it looks like in September of the past year, and I think people need to remain flexible and understand that ultimately we're just trying to keep people in society as safe as possible to reduce the number of mortalities that we go through because of the COVID virus.
I know you're in constant contact with your peers here in the Commonwealth. You're probably privy to emails and websites that most ordinary people don't visit because you're in education. What are your peers saying in states like Georgia that are rushing to open up again? I mean, that's scary. What do you tell to a parent that, okay, schools are open, but that parent doesn't want to send his or her son or daughter?
Exactly. I think that's why the model in Massachusetts was the flexible model. Not forcing people to do something that they're not ready to do, especially if there's no virus eradication at that time. So as other states decide to go forward and blaze a path, I say, okay, well, Massachusetts, we're going to learn from that model. So if they force everyone to go back to school or back to business too quick, we're going to see how quickly that virus spreads again, and whether or not they don't flatten the curve but exacerbate the height of the curve and then overwhelm their medical systems within that state. So I understand that there's big things at play here, including health, but also financial impacts that the economies have to understand and work their way through. So if they want to go ahead and be the trailblazers for it, I say, by gosh, go ahead, because you'll make an excellent model for us to base our decisions off of.
In addition, the superintendent's office is now accepting applications from students residing outside of North Attleboro for 10 school choice openings in grade 9 for the upcoming academic year. If you know someone who would like to apply, they should visit naschools.net. There is a link on the home page under the words Important Links. The application deadline is June 30th. A lottery will be held on July 1st, if necessary, to fill the 10 grade 9 openings. North Attleboro will receive $5,000 for every student who attends town schools under the school choice program. Last week's panel discussion can be seen in its entirety on North TV's government channel, Comcast Channel 98, and Verizon Channel 23. You can also stream that special program at any time on any device by becoming a North TV Insider by visiting the new NorthTV.net and clicking the words North TV Insider at the top of the screen.